Good afternoon, Patriot pals. Thank you for joining me. Have a good day and God bless you. Let's get into the news. We're just getting more wacky news when it comes to unidentified objects now being blown out of the sky on a daily basis. Is that the new normal? I don't know. What was going on? We had a shoot down on Friday and Saturday, just as we go into the weekend. These are some things that could be what they're trying to hide or distract us from seeing and knowing about things that happened just as we were going into the weekend. Let's start off with the National Archives on Friday, releasing 74 pages of emails. These emails show that one of the National Archives attorneys was coordinating with President Joe Biden's attorneys to secretly retrieve classified materials from the Penn Biden Center before the 2022 midterm elections. Now we know this was happening. But now we are seeing receipts. According to the House Oversight Chair James Comer, the archive was previously instructed by either the White House or the Department of Justice to hide initial revelation of the Biden classified document scandal from the American people. We know that the establishment media has reported at least 3 times that the Biden folks and the DOJ agreed to hide the scandal from public view. But of course, CBS broke the story on January 9, and the cat was let out of the bag. Now with these emails released, just as we were shooting down, yet more stuff over Alaska than later over Canada and everything else that's going on. With this email released Friday, and by the way, this wasn't because this was due to a Freedom of Information Act request as filed by Bloomberg, shows that the archives secretly coordinated with and accommodated Biden's personal attorneys to retrieve the classified records. The emails also show questions were raised about whether classified materials were also stored in Boston and Philadelphia. More sites to be, of course, not gonna get raided because they're not Trump, but to be reviewed and to searched. After giving Biden's people a chance to maybe scrub it clean. Now, here's the thing that's so curious, folks, these for this last FOIA request. And all the other information that we've seen, we still don't know what the reason for the search came. What was the predicate? What was the reason for these searches in the Penn Biden Center? By Biden's attorneys. Why are they even doing this search? What was the genesis? What was the catalyst for this? That still has been kept secret? And that is what really has me worried. What do we not know? We know what we know. We know some of the things that we don't know. But what don't we know that we don't know? We don't know? What's really being hidden here? With the fact that we still don't know why. What was the initial reason or cause for this search in the first place? Alright, so here is what we know from this email. The emails indicate Biden's personal attorneys and archives lawyer Gary Stern had a conversation as early as November 4 about the classified scandal on November 7, one day before the midterm elections. Stern emailed the Biden's personal lawyer Bob Bauer and Pat Moore to arrange a time to secretly collect materials in a U.S. government van from the Penn Biden Center in D.C. And this is what the email says: Bob, Pat fell in our conversation on Friday. We would like to make arrangements for our staff to come back to the D.C. Penn Biden Center space to assess the remaining boxes and take custody of whichever ones were deemed appropriate for further review. Then there's a second email on the 7th. They shows more accommodations were being made by the archives. Western asking Biden's lawyers if personnel from the archives could return to the Penn Biden Center to assess the remaining boxes and take custody of whichever ones we deem appropriate for further review. Saw Alinsky here, folks, tactic of accuse your opponent of what you're actually guilty of. Remember all of the craziness with the raid on Mar-a-Lago of a president who had right to have those classified documents. He had a skiff as a president, and his de facto second White House Mar-a-Lago, he gets raided. And they're trying to do all of this days before the midterms. And they gave directions to Biden's people how to secure it. Now, we've done a lot of this stuff. What I'm really showing you here, folks, is that as of Friday, late, while all these things were going on, and we're distracted with things in the sky, we have receipts of the coordination and the collusion between the National Archives and Biden's people, yet they're still hiding the reason why this search took place in the first place. Nothing to see here, they're thinking. But that's not all. Let's go to Hunter Biden and his gun. The one that Haley threw in a trash can. That was by a high school. Also on Friday as the Celestial shootings were going on. Judicial Watch also received hundreds of pages from the U.S. Secret Service related to the investigation into Hunter Biden's gun. They've been looking into this So here's a reminder that back in October of 2018, crackhead Hunter and Joe Biden's daughter-in-law Hallie were in this incident with the gun. You're gonna women. I thought Holly is Bo's wife. Yeah. Well, supposedly, Hunter started dating Holly in 2018. After Bo's exit. Anyway, in October of 2018, Holly took Hunter Biden's handgun from his truck supposing with 100 without his knowledge and threw it into a trash can behind Johnson's Market. That's a Delaware grocery store. The gun went missing, but of course, no arrest was made. Now, in fact, the Secret Service was trying to stonewall getting this information over to Judicial Watch. And now we know why. The Secret Service inserted itself in the case and worked as a cleanup crew to protect these dirty, sick, disgusting, lying, treasonous, traitorous. And what's another word I was trying to get? Get on a roll there, rat bastards. Now, Hunter Biden had gone back to the grocery store to retrieve the gun after Holly told him, but she did. But the gun was nowhere to be found. Delaware police began investigating especially for the gun because it was left in a trash can because that Johnson's Mark is across the street from a high school. Now a few hours later. Still, there was no gun, but they let both Holly and Hunter leave the scene with no arrests. Here's interesting. The Secret Service went and questioned the store owner, where Hunter bought the gun, and asked for a paperwork involving the sale. The gun store owner suspected that the Secret Service might be trying to hide up the crime, so they handed over the paperwork, but not to the Secret Service, over to ATF, alcohol, tobacco and firearms and explosives. Now, a few days later, after the gun went missing, it was returned by a man who collects. He goes to trash looking for recyclables. Now all of this was reported in The Blaze in 2020. And then Politico got the firearms record, and when we show that, it shows that Hunter Biden lied on the form. He was recovering, you know. Because his drug thing, he lied about the drug question. So that's a felony because he lied on a federal arms form. You know that if Eric or Eve or Ivanka or Don Genuine have done that, they'd be buried and brought in a jail underneath the prison right now. So here's where we get to Judicial Watch. They announced on Friday that it had received these 470 pages of records from the U.S. Secret Service. And the records show agency officials discussing media reports of the alleged involvement, with one finding it odd that the Secret Service was even involved in the investigation in the first place. With the terms, what the phrase in those emails, maybe we were asked for a favor. So the records show the agency alerted the Biden White House and crafted a public statement insisting that I had no involvement in this alleged incident and refusing to provide any additional clarification to media inquiries. A person whose name is redacted in the emails I see Secret Service official in the PID Protective Intelligence and Assessment Division. Put a link to that Blaze article that I referenced earlier. And the official forwarded the article to another official. All these names are redacted, by the way. But the responses are what's interesting. And what Judicial Watch is bringing our attention to. One of the responses was, "Oh, dear." And after being forwarded the same article, an unidentified protective intelligence resource specialist responses, "Colleagues, it's kind of odd that we were involved in the missing gun investigation when neither Hunter or Joe were even receiving Secret Service protection at the time." And that's wherein another official replies, "Maybe we were asked for a favor." And that is why Tom Fitton, right before going into the weekend, tweeted out, "Huge gun scandal, Secret Service official, maybe we were asked for a favor, an investigation of Hunter Biden's gun, all these evidences, but I keep seeing pictures of Hunter Biden getting in and out of Air Force One. Makes me sick. Makes me sick." Ladies and gentlemen, give me your thoughts below. And hit subscribe right now. And I will see you guys next time. Thank you for watching the video.